Episode 1 and 2 of Witch Watch is finally out. We are the Bestie Bento Breakdown, two best friends watching anime and making everybody listen to it. So I am Dr. Tia Key.
And I'm Allie.
So super pumped. We did a trailer reaction to this anime and both agreed it was something we absolutely want and need to watch. And oh my God, I do not regret it.
A pleasant surprise.
2 episodes deep. Was definitely planning to watch more, but let's talk about our review of the first 2 episodes. Opening up, where you kind of get the backstory of like how these two main characters, how they met, and clearly they're childhood friends.
Yes, little itty bitty kids. We find that the little girl, gosh, what's her name? What's the main character's name?
Don't judge us in the comics. Y'all don't know their name either.
Well, she's supposed to go into training mode or something.
Right. She's going to witches training, and this is essentially why she had to move away. If she wants to become a proper witch, now we are fast forward to the future.
So we skip time. They're in high school. We meet now Morihito first, male protagonist. And you kind of realize there's like some a little bit different with him because he's pretty chill. And everything around him seems to be chaotic, but he seems like a genuinely nice person.
What I love about just kind of like the whole scene of just like these street bullies kind of coming up to this guy in this group is like it's very telling to what type of character the main character guy is going to be, because like they're rolling deep. So like you can tell this guy has probably got some power behind him in some way.
Yeah. And what's like one thing you do find is like Morihito tends to like avoid the fights, and like he's doing what like Yuki does in Fruits Basket when Kyo's attacking him.
Dodging, right?
Yes. It's so graceful. So then you kind of get to find out like the whys, like how does that even happen? Why is he like avoiding the conflict? You get to also meet his dad. His dad is a character.
Like, as the dad is having this conversation with his son, you kind of discover a little bit about what this series may be about, which is essentially that his childhood friend, which you saw in the beginning, is coming back. She is now a witch. You kind of find out that this family, for some reason, is a protector to this witch.
One of the big, I think, the things that to take away is that they are not fully human. They are like ogres, I think is the right word, right?
Yes.
Because familiars at one point evolved into a human form as time, I guess, went on. I'm not quite sure why they turned human, but still. But when they did that, they then harnessed the energy of a familiar for a witch, aka being the servant of a witch.
Which is why he is going to be a protector of her, because she wants him to be her familiar. This is kind of like that explanation for why this is even occurring.
And this also explains why Morihito does not fight people, because he has ungodly amount of strength. Like he's, told by his dad to just don't do it.
Right. Let me just note that I love their character design. Like it really looks like the dad has horns. Maybe when the main guy gets older, he'll get like an extra little spike in his hair.
Oh my gosh, I would live. So Nico will be coming here soon. And then eventually she does show up. The way though that the art style turned so drastically, I thought that was the funniest little switcheroo of like animation style. And of course, then you meet Nico. Yeah. That's her name. Now I figured it out. Yay. You could already know that there's some sort of cute little, like at this point, maybe one-sided love interest of cuteness little Nico and Moe-chan.
But I was so happy to find out it's actually the girl this time is a total creep low-key. Like she clearly wants this man, and she's just like, I can't even imagine all the fantasies about to have being roommates, which, legit. But I just love it when they have kind of like this troublemaker, and then you kind of have like this more overly serious guy who's responsible for watching out for this troublemaker.
We're now going into the Nico magic. So she was gone for some time in order to do training. Like, let's see what actually is the magic world about and how is her magic skills and da da da. And she can do a lot of great things. But then you start learning that every badass thing she's doing has, it's a causation effect kind of
Yes.
situation.
All magic comes with a price.
First thing that we really learn about is her wanting to fix the window that she broke through. And, you know, she can't just be like, magic wand and it fixed. There has to be an exchange. So I guess in this case, it had to be something that was important to a person. He gave her a mug. I guess that was very important to him. And so she was able to transfer that, I guess, that care and love and use it as power to fix the window. But as a result, as Allison said, there was a reaction towards it and she broke the mug. And this is just so telling of her personality. Like, yeah, she does say, like, oh, maybe I should have used something of my own, or maybe I should have used something else. But like, girl, she's just doing it. There's no thought about like, okay, I am going to break something he literally just told me was important to him. Like, it doesn't matter.
Like in her brain, the ultimate thing to fix was the actual like house that she broke. So she felt responsible. The thing is though, if you felt responsible, why didn't you then use your stuff to break, knowing that that's what had to be sacrificed? Right. So she's clearly a bit dense as well. And then of course, you know, she kind of gets into, I need to show you all of my magic skills. And that's when things start to get out of control. And this is like, I feel this is the essence of what this show is about. When the scene of like her talking about this amazing magic skill she has where she can make things as flat as paper. And he was like, no, don't do it. She's like, okay, I'll do it to myself.
Can I just note when she started and she put her hands to the chest, I was like, that's it. Is this going to be like a boob joke or anything? And I was so relieved.
I loved just the whole thing. She's absolute chaos. He's having to like, you know, protect her. This part where she's obviously motion sick and she starts barfing, but it's like barf confetti. That was so outrageously funny.
We do get a little bit more information into Morihito. So there is the one part when she's paper and she's kind of stuck between the buildings. So this also shows you the dangers of her magic. Like she can't automatically get herself out of certain situations. So in this case, if she was to come out of her paper form stuck between two buildings, messy. So in this case, Morihito is really like confronted with needing to get help from somebody else or, you know, tap into that power. He bumps back into that bully guy or the tough guy, the kelp. And you find out that the reason why, again, he holds back because he got into a fight with him and really, really injured him. And so there are some people out here that are aware of his power and knowing that he is holding back. I thought that was helpful to kind of get that context to know that like some people are aware, a lot of people aren't.
What I find interesting is that he doesn't hold resentment against Nico due to all of this. He doesn't seem to show resentment towards his lineage. Yeah. Or his family. He understands that there's like that obligation. So as a character, he's super intriguing. And like, if there was resentment of any kind, it would just make him seem like just an asshole character. And I'm sick of the asshole male characters. Like, I'm done with it. It's boring. But like, this feels like so much more mature. Like, he just understands that this is how life is for him. And he takes it on and embraces it, which I love. I appreciate it. The last thing that happens, she's been told by Morihito to not showcase that you're a witch, where, you know, we have to keep quiet, hush, hush for your safety. And her brain is like, yeah, but the witch's code is to like help people. And in order to get better, I guess, as a witch.
And so by him trying to stop her because he feels that's the only way to protect her, because, you know, just because she's a witch, it's very unusual still for, it seems that witches are just kind of like out here. So she rejects that. And so, yeah, a fire breaks out and here she goes.
I think there's also an element here that I think are things you could possibly miss that make this more contextually funny. So the magic spell for making things light is like karui, and that means light. But you can also say someone's personality, or even more like a flake type person. In this whole thing that happens with the fire, her broom can't handle more than so many people. And I don't know if it was Morihito decided, I don't remember, but it was more of like, make me lighter, and that way it won't recognize there's so many people on your broom. So she did that, but in doing so, it made his personality also karui. Everything he did, he's like, what's up, girl? I would say it's similarly to Dandada.
I was gonna say that's literally what I thought of.
And the best part is like when their body comes back, they become also down and heavy. And again, that's a play on context and words. They are now omoi or heavy in emotions. And that, but it's like funny because Dandadan, and now that I've seen this show, it does heavily rely on nostalgic stuff. But if you don't speak Japanese and they don't translate the context of the scenario, you're missing that whole extra level of comedy. So I understand if some of this isn't as funny for some viewers. This is just something I picked up from watching the 2 episodes.
So the very last thing that happens in this, and this is really adding stakes to the story. So it's not just this guy and a girl kind of bumbling around, but some sort of prediction that a disaster is going to happen to her. We don't know exactly what that means or what that could look like, but that is the reason why Morihito has to protect her, keep an eye out for her. So to hopefully avoid whatever this disaster may be. So we finally have stakes to the story, something to kind of keep in mind in the background while all the other like silly little things are happening. And yeah, that is how we ended episode 1. Really great introduction to these characters and a little bit of their personality.
In terms of review for like first episode, that's a good start. And then the second episode to me was honestly better than the first. The second episode to me is like comedic genius. It hit all the right points. It was so good. Throughout the series, at least the 2 episodes I've seen, she'll start like talking and like having these huge conversations about like how much she loves them. And I'm like, is this like make believe, like imaginary, or is this like actually being said? And he's so dumb and oblivious that he doesn't understand that she's talking to him.
No, it's like a combination of both. Like, I wonder, like, I do feel like she is saying some things like outwardly, but I think with his character just being so like serious, he's just like, I'm in guard mode. Like, I'm not paying attention to anything else. Like, I'm responsible. And it's like, all right, bro. Because she clearly is attracted to him and's only been thinking about the romantic aspect of the relationships since she knew she was moving in. And he's not even on that page right now.
Maybe it is just that.
Exactly. Finally, we're kind of getting into like that high school life of our main characters, which I'm curious if the majority of the show is going to take place at high school because you have a variety of characters. But you do learn a little bit more about just Nico as she was growing up. It seems like she didn't really have any friends. So, you know, she was busy training. So she missed out on a lot of opportunities to make a connection with her classmates and people around her, which is a concern for Morihito in this episode. He's very much like, you know, don't stand out, you know, try to kind of blend in. He wants her to have a safe, you know, student experience and to connect with people. So that's kind of his mindset. Her mindset is like, I'm gonna live my high school dream of like high school girls and romance and friendships and ooh.
I just love that. It's so cute and funny. Girl is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
We finally meet classmates and our teacher. And let me tell you, the teacher's me. I'm this teacher.
This teacher was spot on hilarious too, because she connected the world around her with like comics and stuff like that. Throughout this like next set of scenes, all she does is connect things to anime and like to classic stuff, which was just incredible. I loved every second of it. And bringing up the point of how there is contextual stuff being missed here if you don't speak Japanese, is that all of the students, their personalities, even to like how they act or look, is based off of their name. So there was a couple of names that just like I started noticing a pattern from the first person. They're doing roll call. So the first person was Koashihara, his name, which literally means like upset stomach or stomach ache. So funny. Then this guy, Ishi Tsuyoshi. So again, it's like my will is strong. Not just like a macho looking character, but like stern and like has ambition. And there was like a knowledgeable person, highly intelligent. That's what this name is, Takashi Shiki. So like, you know who they are before even like getting to know them.
Right. So through the scene, of course, as we're getting the introduction to the students, you see that Nico taking upon herself again to be helpful with no insight or thought about the appropriateness of the place that she's in. And because of this action, it triggers a series of anime references that are just so good.
My favorite part, and I had to like message you right away.
Yeah. If you've watched Hunter x Hunter, it was like so emotional and so impactful. So the fact that they reference in such a silly way, I was like, oh.
What I find interesting too is I guess I don't know laws around things like this. Because sometimes you watch anime and they use like very close and similar names, but it's not quite because there's some sort of like not allowed to use names. But like this one blatantly was like Gone Freaks. I was like, oh my gosh.
And as our magic gets out of control, she ends up putting it on herself, which causes her to become large. So another anime reference that popped up was Attack on Titan, if you missed it, when she turns herself large. And now the secret is out.
You do find out that it wasn't much of a secret and you were spending all this energy to hide something that was like not needed because they already knew that she was a witch because of paperwork. But what I do appreciate is like from that point, it's the like I've ruined things. Maybe she's never gonna make friends. There's that like fear of now I just ruined everything for her. But luckily, things change.
Exactly.
And here she is getting asked to go out with a couple of girls. Now that I'm thinking of those references, doing an icebreaker activity, and the teacher's like, maybe we can do fruits basket. Now I'm like, is the dynamics of the friends then copied of Fruits Basket? Because it would be like Uo-chan and Hana-chan, very much exactly those two girl characters.
Yeah, because you can kind of see right away that the one girl who has the shorter hair, she's probably going to have the role of the protector friend role. You kind of get a glimpse of that first whenever the men outside are trying to like hit on them, and she's like just being brave enough to just like keep it moving. And then even as we mentioned already, her kind of accepting in the other girl who was, I guess, an outcast or very shy, and kind of like taking her in and becoming her friend. I'm curious if this is just going to be like her role throughout the show. Mori's not the only person that is protecting her. She's starting to kind of develop her own circle as well. Showing off more of her power. You kind of get a sense that now the rest of the school is being aware because they're now very publicly outside using her magic, and the other kids are like, they're flying. And again, anime references out the woo-ha. Every type of like anime personality has been on full display in here.
There's Dragon Ball right here. Again, though, it brings up the same thing of there's always a cause and effect. And especially like in a I don't like this felt controlled, and you're like, okay, it's only in that circle.
Right.
But you don't realize that anything that enters that circle immediately gets the effects of the magic. So that's when the Rut-row truck is coming. And I was kind of like, listen, this was the silliest thing I've ever seen, which was like, why is this truck here?
Because of this occurring, we now have a chance for Morihito to share his identity as well. One thing, as we mentioned throughout this episode, is that he's very much the personality type of wanting to keep things a secret and hush hush. And he didn't want to share that he was an ogre because when he did in the past, he lost a lot of friends. So now, because of this truck, he has to reveal his powers.
I'm an ogre. I'm a terrifying ogre.
And the reaction was so cute because they're like, we already accepted a witch. Of course she got an ogre friend. Like, duh. I love it.
No, it was so like wholesome and cute at this point. That character building in just 2 episodes, the character building was great. The story is simple. They have time to just work on the characters, and all these other characters are, you already know who they are and what they represent, what their personality is, and how they push and pull on the main characters because their name and like everything's written on them. They're coded.
Right. I love it.
Yeah,
This show really doesn't shy away from like just leaning into those. I say tropes, but I don't mean that in a negative way. But like they really lean into that, kind of jumping onto like themes we've seen before, which makes it so like nostalgic and familiar, which makes it really easy to fall in love in an anime like this. I think that we can both agree that this is something that we will continue to watch. And hopefully, the momentum, we don't lose it or it becomes too repetitive. I don't know, but I'm feeling good about it. And I hope that this good feeling lasts.
I agree. I do really hope that it continues to develop the characters and their relationship. You start to see kind of what it is that possibly could be the antagonist, or like what is the
What are those high stakes? Why are we here?
Right now, it's just an ominous, every so often couple of sentence you hear in the episode, but then after that, it's quickly like ignored
You can
and
totally
moved on to
forget.
like a comedic scene. I hope each episode continues to build that. Like everything's kind of naturally coming together in different ways. Like he's now starting to understand who he is and he's feeling more confident to be himself more. I feel like there's natural growth.
I feel like the attention to details in terms of like the fandom that they've already put into the first two
Mhm.
episodes and the cause and effects, or like that shows me that they're thinking about it, that there's some sort of
Mhm.
plan. And I would feel so deeply disappointed if it just fumbles at the finish line. Hopefully
Mhm.
that won't be the case. I love it. So let us know in the comments if you are also watching Witch Watch and if you plan to continue watching it. Let us know if you want more, videos from us. We're happy to review it. We might do it anyway. And make sure you like and subscribe for more anime content. Bye.